So, there's this mobile game that I recently got into called Bloody Bastards, and I have a lot of conflicting thoughts on it. Like, so many that if I did go over everything that I think about this game, this would be an hour-long video that would go way outside the scope of the one specific series of problems that I actually made this video to talk about. So I'm going to try to keep my description of this game and how I feel about it in general as brief as possible before you click off the video and tell me to shut the fuck up. Anyways, with all that out of the way, what is Bloody Bastards? Essentially, it's a 2D physics-based medieval combat sim where each joystick controls one of your character's arms. And it ends up being pretty straightforward when you use the one-handed weapons that you start out with, but later on, you unlock two-handed weapons, and this opens the door for so much cool tech and skill expression and shit you can, like, setups you can do with different types of weapons. And you try to crush, stab, and sometimes entirely slice off parts of your opponent until their health bar goes all the way down and you win. In single player, you just play one round against whoever you're fighting for that level. You kill them or they kill you. Multiplayer, first person to win 3 rounds wins. Does that sound fun to you? Well, I mean, you'd be right. Actually, yeah, it is pretty fun in single player. I've had so much fun just pushing through the levels, facing harder and harder enemies, unlocking better and better weapons for my character along the way. Like, sure, it's repetitive, I guess would be my one complaint about the single player, but repetitive doesn't necessarily mean boring. And I know this is just my opinion, but I didn't really start getting bored of single player until around, like, level 500 or so. However, that's just the single player. The multiplayer, see, this is where the problem lies. This is where a good 95% of my issues with this game stem from. And I want to say, don't go out of the way to just like hate on the devs, send him hate messages, death threats, whatever have you on Twitter, because I genuinely do believe he's like trying his hardest to fix this game. Like, he was talking about earlier that there's going to be a multiplayer backend fix coming out at the end of the year. We just got the Halloween update a little bit ago. He's a solo dev doing this alone. I get it. But at the same time, the state of this game, as it is currently at the time of recording, is inexcusable. And apparently, it has been for the past, like, 2 years, from what I've heard talking to people in the community. When I first started recording this video, originally, it was going to be a top 10 video. Top 10 funniest, top 10 most annoying, wasn't really sure what. Top 10 something glitches in Bloody Bastards. But then as I went out of my way to try to trigger these glitches to get recordings for this video, it was like for every one glitch I would try to hunt down, I would find like 5 more. To the point where, at time of recording now, I'm on like 36 glitches in this Google Doc that I have, just writing them down. So instead of that, this is just going to be like a half rant, half showcase of every single glitch that I've found so far, and talking about how much each one pisses me off and why. Starting with the most common and most annoying one, the health bars in this game just don't work when you're playing multiplayer. Like, the amount of times that either I have killed someone or someone has killed me with an attack that looks like the lightest swing in the world, or maybe it will be like a pretty hefty swing, I'll get hit, I'll admit I messed up, but should this be taking me from full health to 0 in a single attack? Fuck no. What type of game balance is that? That makes 0 sense at all. And this happens all the fucking time. To the point where I genuinely question what the point in having health bars in this game even is if they're going to be this inaccurate every single round. And if you think it ends there, no, the stamina bars do the same exact thing. Again, there are so many times where you'll swing your weapon once and suddenly your guy is just an asthmatic heap on the floor, panting for breath. And it's like, what caused this? But then your opponent will get up, and they just start wailing on you like it's no tomorrow, and it seems like they're just gaining stamina for every swing they do. So it's like, what do you do against this? You can't just sit there and take it, but you also can't retaliate because not even attacking, even raising your weapon up sometimes to try to block them will be enough to just put you in stamina debt and leave you on the floor. And don't even get me started on the stupid-ass kicking mechanic, which, one, barely ever works. Like, the amount of times, I think I can count on one hand from the time where I've started playing this damn game to now, where using that damn kick has had the intended effect of pushing my opponent away and leaving me at a range advantage. Because even when it does slightly push them away, I think on like a fundamental level, glitches aside, this needs to be actually buffed as a mechanic. But even aside from that, there's also a glitch where if you kick somebody and you're not host in the match, you get put in like stamina debt. Your stamina regen just pauses for an insane amount of time, and everything you do seemingly takes a lot more stamina than it should, leading to situations like this, where somebody will have you pushed into a corner, they're using a short range weapon, you're using a long range one. Hey, I'm not mad at them for playing efficiently with the weapon that they chose to use, but like when I try to use the counterplay mechanic that the dev put into the game specifically for this situation, it doesn't fucking work, and I just get put on my ass randomly. How, like, make it make sense, man. Anyways, moving on to the next issue, the astute observers among you might have noticed that that clip just now was a clip that I had already played just in reverse to try to illustrate how annoying the that one glitch is with the stamina, right? But the even more astute observers of you might have noticed that throughout this video I've had to censor a couple of the names of the people I'm going against, because there is a censor in this game. There are certain things you can and cannot name your character. That's fine. I think that's necessary in most multiplayer games. The problem is, like a lot of other shit in this game, it doesn't fucking work. Like, if you name your character, like, you want to make a generic Russian joke, you name your Russian character Kami, haha. Oh, nope, you can't do that. Communist, that's off limits. You want to make a character based off of Shaggy, that's illegal. But this guy is running around, his name included, like, the hard R N-word and a slur for Jewish people. And I have seen many, many other examples of things that I am typing right now purely for educational purposes to show what you can't say. But there's the easiest workarounds of all time for this, man. You just go into like any sort of text generator and type it in an alternate font. Hell, it doesn't even need to be an alternate font. It just needs to be, the game just has to recognize it as an alternate font. It can literally look the exact same as normal typing, but as long as you didn't do it on the normal keyboard, it doesn't notice. And then it completely blocks you from that. But I try to name my Russian character the Communist, and I apparently committed fucking grand treason? Like, who set this up? Anyways, back to talking about the actual gameplay glitches. I'm just gonna rapid fire these as a series because they all have the same end goal of kicking you out of a match against your will. There's one that just does exactly what I just said. You'll be playing randomly. No, you're not. You're gone. There's one where if you're queuing up for a match and you leave that queue too close to when the game would have actually put you into one, you lose the match as if you were actually there and pressed forfeit, even though on your screen you probably barely saw them for a split second before the queue just ended or never saw them at all. And my favorite one, the 3-player match glitch, as I'd like to call it. Because you know how this game is a 1v1 fighting game? Yeah, well, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it'll actually put 3 people into a single lobby. How does it do this? Why does it do this? I don't know. I genuinely don't know how it's possible to code a 1v1 game in a way where this is even possible, but it is. Here's footage of it. And when this happens, both the players that were supposed to fight each other get kicked out immediately and receive a loss, while you receive a win for being a fucking spectator. Now, all of these are already annoying because they're stopping you from playing the game when you want to play the game. But again, I want to go back into something that's not necessarily a glitch, but just to provide a little more context as to why glitches like this are so frustrating in Bloody Bastards specifically. When you start out playing ranked, you start as an unranked character. In order to receive your first rank, which will be bronze, you're going to need 50 ranked points, or to win about 5 matches, because you're getting 10 ranked points per match. Pretty easy. You get to bronze 3, 5 more, bronze 2, 5 more, bronze 1. Great. Now you gotta get to silver. Now instead of 50 ranked points to rank up, you need 100 ranked points to rank up. Which, you know, not bad. Okay, so you do it. Now it'll be 10 matches you gotta win. So you win your 10 matches, you get to silver 3, 10 matches again, silver 2, silver 1, you know the deal. But then you see the requirement for gold. It is now asking you for 1,000 ranked points to go up from silver to gold. For those of you that aren't math savvy, it wants you to win 100 games to go up a single rank. 1, from a baseline time commitment level, that is way too much to ask. 2, this is a good time to mention that when you lose in this game, as you might suspect, you lose ranked points. This isn't based on any sort of win streak, loss streak thing, or MMR, as it would be in any other video game, with a rank system that makes sense. No, the higher rank you are, the more ranked points you lose when you get a loss. So it doesn't really matter if you lose in like bronze, right? You're only losing 2 points there. But by the time you get to gold, you're losing 6 points per loss. It goes up by 2 every time. So that stat I just gave you, having to win 100 matches, that's not entirely accurate. Because let's say you're like a decent player. You know, fuck it. Let's say you're a pretty good player, like well above average. You'd have about a 70% win rate. So you gotta add that 30% of the time that you'll be losing. So now it's not 100 games you're looking at to rank up. It should be closer to 115. Actually a little bit more than that. But you know, sunk cost fallacy. You made it this far, why stop now? So you begrudgingly go up through your gold 3, gold 2, gold 1. So you keep going until you get to platinum. Hey, that's where I'm at. That's where I've been at the past couple months. You know why? Because you need to win 500 fucking games to rank up once when you're in platinum. And it only gets worse and worse. Once you get to diamond, you need 10k rank points or 1,000 games to rank up a single time. And by the way, if you lose any of those games or get kicked out by any of the glitches that just do that sometimes, you lose 10 fucking ranked points once you're all the way up there. So yeah, good luck. There are people that do it, but from what I've heard, it takes about 3 years, which is fucking ridiculous. I respect the dedication to you guys who are, but me personally, hell no. And I can only imagine how infuriating it must be to be one of those people genuinely shooting for that, and you lose 10 points worth of progress because of a stupid glitch that was out of your control. Anyways, small interlude from the ones that caused me to have a fucking brain aneurysm whenever I see them in game, and let's talk about some silly goofy ones that are actually kind of fun. This one time I was playing, I had to fight the Counter-Strike Source Texture Man, and he was just running around, swinging his axe. He was having a grand old time. You know, for the first like 15-ish seconds of this match, I just straight up couldn't move or swing my weapon, so I ended up losing, but I found this so funny, I didn't really care. Also, it wasn't casual. Speaking of strange things that happen in casual, there's also this one member of the community, Azriel. He's pretty active in the Reddit and the Discord for Bloody Bastards. I've fought him a couple of times. He's cool. But this one time I was fighting him and he turned into the fucking Phantom of the Opera or whatever this shit is and started flying around and smacking me with a hammer. I've never seen this glitch before or since, and I still think about this at least once a week and it keeps me up at night. There's also this glitch where, to be fair, this would piss me off a lot if it happened in competitive, but 9 times out of 10 when I see this, it's in casual. Where basically, your opponent spawns with these weird spaghetti arms and starts coming at you like some kind of SCP. It honestly looks kind of ridiculous and funny, but this does tie back into another glitch that does annoy me a lot, where sometimes it's caused by this, sometimes it just happens, where in this game you can get hit by attacks that are nowhere fucking near you and die from it. Like, I swear, some of these dudes that I'm killing, or some of these dudes that kill me, are using, like, Wi-Fi hockey from that one scene in One Piece with Shanks. That's the shit that happens in Bloody Bastards, and I don't know how or why. Actually, I do know how or why. It's because the server select button doesn't fucking work. Or at least not how you'd expect a server select button to work if you actually wanted it to function properly. When you switch your game's server from Europe, which is the default, to any other server in the world, it automatically switches back after you turn the game off and on again. I'm not entirely sure if this is a glitch or just an oversight from the developer, but if it is an oversight, this is a humongous fucking oversight, because most of the people who play this game, from what I've seen, live in the United States or Thailand. Having the default server as Europe is fine, the dev is probably European, and that's why, but forcing everybody who plays it all over the world, most of which aren't Europeans, to connect to this stupid-ass server is ridiculous. And this is what I'm saying when I probably know the reason why. It's because of lag. Every fucking match that you're seeing right now, I've had like 100, 200, sometimes 300 fucking ping because the lag is horrendous because of this stupid shit. And before the one dumbass shows up in my comment section talking about, oh, well, that's your fault because you didn't switch the server every time. I switch the server every time, and it never lags for me. my game runs great. Okay, how great are your fucking 20-minute wait times between your matches you probably have to wait for? Because all the other servers on this game are fucking ghost towns, because half the player base probably doesn't even know this button exists or knows what it does, and while the other half of the player base is aware, they don't press it because of this self-fulfilling cycle that it creates. And I know that a decent bit of the stuff I've talked about so far probably stems from this as well. You can boil down some of my points that I've made to it's just lag. But that being said, there are still a plethora of problems with this game, completely unrelated to that, number one. And number two, it's kind of hard to tell which ones are and aren't just because of, again, the sheer amount of glitches that exist in this game. That being said though, here's a couple that I'm 100% sure just are their own problems entirely, because of the fact that they exist in single player too. Number one is the fact that the damage values for a lot of the weapons in this game are just wrong, like straight up incorrect. Like, you're trying to tell me that dual wielding these shitty ass maces that you get from Gold 3 will deal more damage than the highest damaging weapon in the game. Yeah, okay pal, you're trying to tell me that the Prince's Greatsword does more damage than most of the Kanbaos in the game, and as much as the final Kanbao you unlock? You're trying to tell me that the wooden Kanbao does less than half the damage that the Stabber does? Are you really going to try to tell me that axes and flails are viable weapons in this game? Is that what you're trying to say? Because what it says in this shop and these values right here, compared to what actually happens in a real match when you try to use some of these weapons, the difference you'll see is fucking astounding, honestly. Also, there's a similar glitch with the armor protection values as well. And ads appear after every single multiplayer match. Legs bend backwards. Sometimes your opponent just spawns in random ass. Why doesn't the sickle on the flail sickle deal damage? So after hearing all that, you're probably wondering why I still play this game after all this time, knowing that there's so many issues with it constantly. I wondered that myself too, and honestly didn't have an answer until recently. I've been talking to a friend who plays a lot of Dead by Daylight, and she hates that game. Or at least that's what you'd think at first. I think that in the 3 years that I've known this woman, I have never heard her outright praise Dead by Daylight or its developers once, without adding something terrible they did immediately afterwards. But despite this, she still plays it, and I asked her why. Her response was that even though the game has a lot of issues, she's a huge fan of the core concept of the game, and there's just nothing else quite like it. So she's able to sit through all of the frustrations she has with it, because at the end of the day, she believes in the potential that it has. And that's when it clicked. That's exactly how I feel about Bloody Bastards. And hey, credit where credit is due. I trust Tibbeth to fix this game 1,000,000 times more than I trust Behavior to fix Dead by Daylight based on everything I've heard from her. So while in its current state, I cannot in good faith recommend this shit to anybody unless you're playing campaign the entire time, I firmly believe that when that New Year's update rolls around, a lot of the issues in this game that I brought up and some of the ones that maybe even I didn't bring up are going to be resolved. And when that happens, something I genuinely want to do is make one of those like retrospective videos for Bloody Bastards. The same way, you know, those games where it's like they'll come out and they're complete trash, but then the devs put in the work and turned around, they turned to like a 10 out of 10, thinking like No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk, some third example I can't think of off the top of my head right now. I want to make a video on how Bloody Bastards was able to do something similar, because I believe that it will. And when it does happen, I want it and the developer to get all the praise that they deserve for taking something that was in a state like this and turning it into what I think will be one of the best and most unique mobile games that we have seen come from this current generation. Believe me, with some of the other shit going on in the mobile space, we need it. Anyways, that's all my thoughts for now. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what weird and funny glitches you guys might have seen, and also how you feel about this game and its future. Because for all the flaws, I feel pretty optimistic right now. Anyway, I've been literally One Shot, and see you guys in the next one.